Hi, you have now reached session 5.1 about the Trial Guidance Tool, the TGT, and the Trial Action Plan, the TAP. These tools are designed to help in the implementation of the Trial Guidance methodology during all phases. The TGT also offers automatic validation and examples from previous trials. The TGT and the TAP are used primarily by trial organizers. This session will explain the relations between TGT, TAP, and Trial Guidance methodology, the importance and purpose of using the TGT to correctly apply the Trial Guidance methodology, how to use the TGT and the TAP, and the relation between TGT and portfolio of solutions.
This session explains the use of two supportive tools, the Trial Guidance Tool, in short TGT, and the Trial Action Plan, in short TAP. Both tools help you as trial owner to follow the Trial Guidance methodology and organize a trial. We first teach you how and why to use the online Trial Guidance Tool. Then we will dive into the Trial Action Plan and how to use it. The Trial Guidance Tool, shortly TGT, is a web-based software tool developed to support trial owners and high-level crisis managers in the implementation of the TGM through the trial phases, most notably in the preparation phase. The TGT provides predefined templates, examples from previous trials, automatic validation, and other supportive functionalities for each of the described steps. Its main objective is thus to offer support, inspiration, and examples in implementation of the Trial Guidance methodology. It is mainly used by trial owners and evaluation coordinators. To access the Trial Guidance Tool, go to the Driver Plus website located under pos.driver-project.eu. The TGT consists of several pages: Trial Guidance Methodology, Trials, and Knowledge DB. If you need more detailed information on the Trial Guidance Tool, visit this page from the drop-down menu. If you want to see information published about other trials, visit the Trials page from the drop-down menu. Here, all you can find information about trials that have been conducted. If you want to see more details about a specific trial, select it from a list to see all information published by its owners. Finally, if you want to access the results of a systematic literature review on relevant topics that was performed during the project, visit the Knowledge DB page from the drop-down menu. You can use the filter to narrow down your search to one of the categories, or you can use the full text search for specific terms. You will see a list of publications and related findings that correspond to given filter criteria. More details about individual items can be accessed by choosing them from the list. You should use the knowledge database to find inspiration if you are stuck, to learn from other people's experience, or to find examples of different outputs that are expected after certain steps. These are the main elements of the TGT. The following tutorials explain how to use the TGT to go through each step of the Trial Guidance methodology and the practical steps in organizing a trial. Go to the Driver Plus website located under pos.driver-project.eu. If you don't have an account, start with creating one by following the Login link in the upper right corner and select Create New Account tab. In the provided form, enter your full name, email address, and desired username. Optionally, you can upload a profile picture and write something about yourself. After reading and agreeing with the site's terms and conditions, mark the corresponding checkbox and finally submit your request with the Create New Account button. You will receive an email with further instructions. After activation of your account, follow the same login link and enter your user credentials and submit your request with the Login button. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to add basic description of your trial with the help of the Trial Guidance tool. To start creating your own trial, you need to be logged in. After a successful login, you will be able to add new trials using the orange Trial button directly from your profile page. You should start by selecting a type of the trial you'll be conducting, and if you don't want to indicate a specific setup you are having, you should select Trial. Otherwise, indicate it with a corresponding type from the list. Write a short name in the title field and indicate which organization is in charge. In the overarching scenario field, you should write the general scenario storyline of your trial. Additional information should be written in the trial description field. After that, you could upload one or more illustrations. And finally, you should read and agree with the site's terms and conditions by marking the corresponding checkbox. Use the button to submit your request to add a description of your trial to the TGT. You will be redirected to your trial's landing page where you can edit the description at any time. Notice that when editing, additional fields are available over 4 tabs. The Trial Summary tab contains the description as you provided earlier. Trial Context contains predefined templates that help you define all the things you might need for your trial, such as considering ethical, legal, and social issues, finding a trial location, listing of participants, required special equipment or facilities you will need, indicating where and when does the trial take place with regards to real-world location and time, and finally listing who is going to be involved and in which roles. The Meta Information tab contains information used for search and matching of trials, such as trial location, the crisis cycle phase, indicating which crisis management phases are covered, incident category, indicating which type of an incident is the scenario about, and a trial type. The Administrative tab allows changing of administrative information by changing the state of corresponding checkboxes, such as sharing of information with interested parties and visualizing your trial in the Trials Overview page. Buttons at the bottom allow saving of applied changes to the description and discarding any changes, thus returning to the previously saved state. Furthermore, here you can see all phases and their steps as described in the Trial Guidance methodology, which you need to follow in order to successfully organize a trial. This concludes the tutoring of adding basic trial description with the help of TGT, and following tutorials will explain individual phases and steps in more detail. In this tutorial, you will learn how to manage your trial team, such that your fellow organizers, such as colleagues, can use the TGT as well to update the information about your trial. After adding your trial to the TGT, you can easily access it from your profile page by selecting it from the list. From here, you can access the Members tab, which allows you to add registered users of the TGT website to your trial team. The user who has added the trial is its owner and can view, edit, and delete any information. Additional accounts are Trial Team, which allows viewing and adding of new information but not deleting it, and Contact, which is used to indicate which team member can be contacted by other TGT users that are interested in the trial. You can add new members by using the button, where you can search for users you wish to add to your trial team, and you can assign them specific roles. You, as trial owner, can add, edit, and remove team members at any time. You can find additional help about this step under Available Help. This concludes the tutorial for managing your trial team in the TGT. Trial Guidance methodology describes a step 0 followed by an iterative 6-step approach for the preparation phase of a trial. By calling it iterative, it is meant that all steps can be repeated as many times as needed until you reach the desired state of preparation. It is advised to go from top to bottom, since you will sometimes be referencing previous steps, but you can start at and go back to any step. In this tutorial, you will learn how to document your actions and decisions while going through steps of the 6-step approach. The first step is the step 0, in which you need to define your gaps. A gap is a capability issue you are facing currently in crisis management, for which you want to find a solution. In the Driver Plus project, 21 strategic gaps have been defined, which you can use as a reference for your own trial. Additionally, you can define your own, and the TGT offers a checklist of things you need to consider when going through this step. The automatic validation function will inform you if some information is missing. You can find more information about the current step under Available Help. Anytime you encounter an issue on the website, you can contact the administrator directly using the Help Desk button. You can use the full text search for specific terms to find previously defined gaps, which you can then easily link to your trial. In the Driver Plus project, a taxonomy of crisis management functions was developed, which aims to unify the language used to describe issues in the crisis management domain across Europe. All gaps defined with the help of the TGT are tagged with terms from this taxonomy, which makes it possible later on to see if there are solutions listed in the portfolio of solutions that might help in bridging these gaps. Session 6.2 of this training module about the portfolio of solutions explains in more detail how innovative solutions in the crisis management domain can be related to crisis management taxonomy. After adding of desired gap, you can indicate if you wish to make it visible for all TGT users, or to leave it visible to your team only, and you can write some team-relevant information. After saving changes, you will notice that a new error message has appeared indicating that your gap is not being referenced. This is a result of an automatic validation, since the trial guidance methodology states that you need to address every gap you have defined by an objective. Resolving this error message is explained in the Trial Objectives tutorial. If you wish to define your own new gap, you should start by writing the name in the title field and then describe it in few sentences. One of the most important things in defining new gaps is their relation with the crisis management function's taxonomy. You should choose one or more of them and write a rationale behind it. You can use full text search for specific terms, or you can filter them by choosing the desired functional area. Here you can also see if there are solutions that are addressing a certain crisis management function. To access the whole crisis management function's taxonomy and other taxonomies used, go to the About and choose Taxonomies from the drop-down menu. You can repeat the process as many times as you want, and you can attach related documentation that describes your gap in more detail. Once you have finished defining your gaps, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. Notice that newly defined gap appears in a list of not referenced gaps in the error message. This concludes the tutorial on how to add gaps to your trial. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to define trial objectives with the help of TGT. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can add new trial objectives, or define an overarching objective for the whole trial. The TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when defining trial objectives. Automatic validation informs you which content is still missing or not published, and from the available help, you can access more information about the step you are currently in. When adding new objectives, you should start by choosing a dimension that new objective is applicable to. The trial guidance methodology defines 3 dimensions. The crisis management dimension regards the impact on crisis management by using the innovative solutions. The solution dimension refers to the actual functionality of the solutions that are being assessed in your trial. The trial dimension relates to the setup of your trial and how it is executed. If the title field is left empty, it will be automatically assigned. Optionally, you can upload any related documentation. The TGT provides examples of previously defined objectives which might help you in defining your own. After saving changes, you will notice that a new error message has appeared, indicating that your objective is not being referenced, and that it is not referencing anything. This is a result of an automatic validation, since the trial guidance methodology states that you need to address a gap by an objective, and that you need to define a research question for each objective. If you go to Edit Status and References, you will notice that you can now reference gaps defined in the previous step to resolve the previous error message. In addition, you can publish or unpublish the objective and write team-related information. Once you are done defining your objectives, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. Resolving of newly appeared error message will be shown in the Trial Research Questions tutorial. This concludes the tutorial on how to add objectives to your trial. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to define research questions with the help of the TGT. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can add new research questions. The TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when defining research questions. Automatic validation informs you which content is still missing or not published, and from the available help you can access more information about the step you are currently in. When creating a new research question, you should write it in the designated field. If the title field is left empty, it will be automatically assigned. The TGT provides examples of previously defined research questions which might help you in defining your own. Optionally, you can upload any related documentation. After saving changes, you will notice that a new error message has appeared, indicating that your research question is not being referenced, and that it is not referencing anything. This is a result of an automatic validation, since the trial guidance methodology states that you need to formulate a research question for each objective, and that you need to define a data collection plan that addresses all research questions. If you go to Edit Status and References, you will notice that you can now reference objectives defined in the previous step to resolve the previous error message. In addition, you can publish or unpublish the research question and write team-related information. Once you are done defining your research questions, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. Resolving of newly appeared error message will be shown in the Trial Data Collection Plan tutorial. This concludes the tutorial on how to add research questions to your trial. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to define a data collection plan with the help of the TGT. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can add new data collection plans. The TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when defining trial data collection plan. Automatic validation informs you which content is still missing or not published, and from the available help, you can access more information about the step you are currently in. When creating a new data collection plan, you should indicate at which of the 3 dimensions that data is linked to. Note that these 3 dimensions are explained earlier on in the Trial Objectives tutorial. The TGT offers predefined templates for data collection in each dimension. These templates can be downloaded to help you to define your data collection plan. Once you have finished a data collection plan in such a template, you can upload it in the TGT. If the title field is left empty, it will be automatically assigned. Optionally, you can upload any related documentation. After saving changes, you will notice that there are no new error messages. Automatic validation will not check if there is something referencing your data collection plan, since it is not foreseen by the trial guidance methodology. If you go to Edit Status and References, you will notice that you can now reference research questions defined in the previous step to resolve the previous error message. In addition, you can publish or unpublish the data collection plan and write team-related information. Once you are done defining your data collection plan, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. This concludes the tutorial on how to add data collection plan to your trial. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to create evaluation approaches and metrics with the help of the TGT. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can add new evaluation approaches and metrics plans. The TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when defining an evaluation approach and its metrics. Automatic validation informs you which content is still missing or not published, and from the available help, you can access more information about the step you are currently in. When creating a new evaluation approach and metrics, you can use the designated field to write them down. Optionally, you can upload any related documentation. If you go to Edit Status and References, you can publish or unpublish the evaluation approaches and metrics and write team-related information. Once you are done defining your evaluation approaches and metrics, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. This concludes the tutorial on how to add evaluation approaches and metrics to your trial. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to document your trial scenario with the help of the TGT. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can add new trial scenarios or edit an overarching scenario for the whole trial. The TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when documenting a trial scenario. Automatic validation informs you which content is still missing or not published. And from the available help, you can access more information about the step you are currently in. When adding new scenarios, you should use the designated field to write a short summary and upload the whole scenario as an attached file. In addition, you can indicate the scenario's start and end date. If you go to Edit Status and References, you will notice that you can now reference research questions defined in one of the previous steps. In addition, you can publish or unpublish the scenario and write team-related information. Once you are done formulating your scenario, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. This concludes the tutorial on how to add a scenario to your trial. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to use the TGT to find and select solutions you want to assess in your trial, relevant for bridging the previously defined gaps. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can add new solutions. The TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when selecting solutions for your trial. Automatic validation informs you which content is still missing or not published, and from the available help, you can access more information about the step you're currently in. You can notice that there is a list of suggested solutions in this step. In the Driver Plus project, an online database that stores information about innovative solutions was developed, called the Portfolio of Solutions, or POS in short. This POS is explained in detail in this training module session 6.2, Portfolio of Solutions. In that tutorial, it is explained how solutions are tagged with the same crisis management taxonomy terms that are used in describing your gaps. Based on these taxonomy tags, the TGT automatically can come up with solutions that might help you in bridging your gaps. If you want to select a solution for your trial that is already described in the portfolio of solutions, you can establish a direct link to it, which will automatically copy to the TGT all available information about it to your trial. On the other hand, if you want to select a solution that is not yet described in the portfolio of solutions, you can write its name in the title field, shortly describe it, and upload any related documentation. If you go to Edit Status and References, you can publish or unpublish the solution information and write team-related information. Once you are done adding solutions you're going to evaluate in a trial, you can use the checklist to indicate if you covered all suggested aspects. After completing this step, you will notice that there are no more error messages and that you have completed the preparation phase of a trial. This concludes the tutorial on how to add a solution to your trial. After entering all information, you can use the export functionality of the TGT to generate a PDF document that can be used as a basis for the trial action plan. This trial action plan and how to use it is explained in more detail in part 2 of this session. In this tutorial, you're going to learn which steps are foreseen in using the TGT in the execution and evaluation phases by the trial guidance methodology. You can easily access your trial from your profile page by selecting it from the list, from where you can access the execution phase, consisting of Trial Integration Meeting, Dry Run 1, Dry Run 2, and Trial Run steps. In the first step, the TGT provides you a possibility to describe test cases for the solutions you have chosen for your trial. They aim to help in describing which technical solutions can work together and can exchange information through the testbed technical infrastructure, and how this interoperability should be tested during the dry runs to assure successful execution of a trial. To learn more about the testbed technical infrastructure, please visit session 5.2 of this training module. You can either define new test cases by filling in all necessary fields, or you can use some of the predefined ones. Once you are done describing a test case, you can go to Edit Stats and References, where you can indicate which of the previously selected solutions are to be used in this test case, and you can add results after completing it. In addition, you can publish or unpublish test cases and write team-related information. You can monitor the progress of the test cases during Dry Run 1 and Dry Run 2 steps by using this button and filling in the necessary information. In addition, the TGT provides a checklist for you to keep in mind all the things you need to consider when you are in a particular step. It also provides an overview of all methods and tools you should use, and what are the expected inputs and outputs. Finally, you can use the TGT to upload and store any documentation that is relevant for that step. For the evaluation phase, which consists of the steps data quality check, data analysis, data synthesis, and dissemination of results steps, the TGT also provides a checklist and an overview of methods and tools to be used with expected inputs and outputs. Here you can indicate which data you used to give answers to your research questions or gaps. Here you can see all data that you stored in the TGT that is relevant for the evaluation phase. In addition, for the last step, the TGT provides a link to the Lessons Learned library, which makes it easier for you to document and disseminate your results. This concludes the tutorial on how to use the TGT in the execution and evaluation phase of your trial. The Trial Action Plan is a comprehensive co-creation template tailored to help with planning and preparing a trial in the preparation and execution phases. The main objective of the TAP is to record efforts, circulate decisions, and to keep track of your progress. This tool should be used by the trial owner and all coordinators, the trial host or venue manager, solution providers, and other supportive staff. So why would you want to use a TAP in your trial? The TAP collects in one document all key trial-related information and decisions, including a description of the methods and considerations you used to come to these decisions. It should be considered as a living document as it is meant to be updated by all relevant stakeholders. It is fully in line with trial guidance methodology, but it goes beyond that, covering also all logistical and organizational aspects. Its primary aim is to serve as a complete description of your trial setup, clear and concise and reflecting the current progress, no matter if you are organizing a big or a small trial. It is structured in order to simplify the preparatory activities and to facilitate transparency in dividing the responsibilities. By its design, it allows you to collect and record efforts, helps with circulating the decisions by simply referring to chapters, and to assess progress by controlling the TAP's overall completion. The TAP is a document template. Simply go through the chapters and create content for these chapters. These entire TAP can be exported, or you can export only relevant chapters and send them to others, for instance, external solution providers. By having one living document in a co-creation process, you have all information gathered in one place, so you can just redirect all incoming queries to this document. The TAP template is a self-explanatory document. Every chapter holds some light blue italic text providing instructions for what purpose and how that chapter is to be used. Note that, like the entire TGM preparation phase, filling in the TAP is also not a linear process. Allow for iterations in which step by step every chapter gets more detailed and more finalized content. The first chapter of the TAP template provides a suggested order to complete the chapters. Note that this suggested order of completion is also not the order in which the chapters are organized. This is because of the oscillating progression through methodological aspects and more practical or technical aspects. You can use this completion order as well to monitor your progression and readiness within the determined time limits. Some chapters or subsections simply need to be finished to start your trial integration meeting or dry run 1 or 2. The TAP consists of 9 chapters covering all areas related to trial organization issues. Let's take a closer look at this content. Purpose and scope of the document is the first chapter of the TAP. It contains 2 subsections on the TAP completion schedule and the TAP review and monitoring schedule. The TAP completion schedule defines the required dates for the completion of different sections and identifies the relations between the actions to be done during the preparation and execution phases. With this, you can monitor whether you are still on track time-wise. The TAP review and monitoring schedule is used primarily by the trial owner to review on a regular basis the content added. The second chapter is called General Information on the Trial, and it consists of 3 subsections: the trial purpose and goals, the trial context, and a high-over outline of the trial scenario. This chapter holds all information like location, date, organizer, trial type, draft agenda, and a short description of what you are trying to assess in which scenario. The third chapter is entirely dedicated to the outputs of the used to document all the outputs of the trial guidance methodology. Use this chapter to store the outputs of Step 0 and the 6-step approach. Chapter 4, Trial Planning, consists of 4 subsections. The Division of Responsibilities section identifies key persons responsible for different aspects of preparing and executing the trial. The command structure describes the hierarchy of roles and persons during execution of the trial. Subsection 4.3 contains different visualizations of all preparation processes like Gantt chart, a weekly timeline, or a table with milestones. And the 4th subsection contains a table with management and organizational risks and related contingency plans. Chapter 5. Platform Facilities contains nothing more than a description of the location at which the trial will be executed. Here you document the technology available and what needs to be adapted and integrated. Chapter 6 describes the solutions you have selected, how they will be used, and how they will be assessed. If you use a specific process to select your solutions, also describe and justify this process here. Chapter 7 is dedicated to the scenario. It consists of 5 subchapters, being the scope, the storyline, included elements, a technology plan, and how you want to control the flow of this scenario. So a timeline of injects and when or under which conditions they should be activated. Organization and logistics are the topic of Chapter 8. Here you will find information on issues related to open actions, a review checklist, conclusions and lessons learned, and space to document all decisions and actions stemming from all major meetings, like the TIM and the dry runs. Chapter 9 is reserved for all other organizational aspects that have not been defined in other chapters, but are still necessary for the execution of the trial. For instance, a safety plan, a briefing to the catering, how to handle visitors and media, or other planning documents. So how to use this document, and how to use it next to the TGT. Note that the TAP will not help you with initial design and preparation, nor with forming final conclusions. There are better tools for this task, and the TGM Handbook is mentioning plenty of them. This is also why the TAP is a supportive tool next to the TGT. The TAP is like any good Microsoft Word template. It does not help you to be a good writer. But if you are a good writer, a good Word template helps you a lot in creating a structured document, especially when you are dealing with a team of writers. As stated before, by using the TGT, you will document your decisions by going through Step 0 and the 6-step approach. The outputs of these methodological steps are documented in TAP Chapter 3. The content in the later TAP chapters, 4 to 9, are based on the choices you made in going through the methodological steps. Because the TGM is iterative, in the TAP you will also jump back and forth between Chapter 3 and later chapters. Who then contributes to this TAP document? The trial committee, consisting of the trial owner and the 3 coordinators, leads the TAP completion. Chapter owners are responsible for their parts within the document. In a large trial, there can be more chapter owners than just the 4 trial committee members. The TAP is used and developed by all trial stakeholders. Also think of fellow crisis management practitioners contributing to the TAP. They will be very helpful and might contribute with all the experience they can share with you. Do be careful, though, about biasing them too much if they will also participate in the trial by using the solutions. In order to facilitate the collaborative planning and monitoring of TAP completion, a table is provided at the start of every chapter. Here you can list who should work on this chapter, how to contact them, and which deadlines are set. The trial action plan can facilitate the process of discussing options and finding the optimal ones, especially when considering evaluation approaches, data collection strategies, or just selecting the innovative gap-bridging solutions. But the document should stay clear and concise, and for this, all discarded options should be erased. During the Driver Plus project, we crossed out options that were not relevant anymore. And once every month, we archived that version and only then really deleted the crossed out text. That way, we kept an archive of decisions made, but also kept the up-to-date TAP concise and clean. So to wrap this up, follow the structure, keep the TAP up-to-date and concise, and use it as a hub linking stakeholders to all important documents. The Trial Guidance Tool is an online website to guide you through the TGM in the preparation phase. You can find this TGT at the following URL. The Trial Action Plan is a comprehensive document template to keep track of all your co-creative work and decisions during the preparation phase and execution phase. Because the TAP is closely linked to the TGT, and using the TGT will result in inputs for the TAP, this TAP template can be found within the TGT at the following URL.